Hello, and welcome to The Franchise Life. I am your host, Stacie Shannon. Today, we are featuring a brand called NutritionHQ. And with me, I have the founder, Ricky Hall. Welcome, Ricky.
Hi, Stacie. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, well, congratulations. This is a brand that you established in 2015, first started franchising in 2020, and you currently have 3 locations. So, give me the backstory. How did NutritionHQ come about?
Yeah, it's great. I've been in franchising for 23 years now. So I was in the military for 6 years, and while growing up in school, we were talking sports earlier. I was very active in sports. Then went into the military, kind of fell out of it a little bit, and saw a picture of myself, and I was overweight. And I went and bought a nutrition book, and just started studying food and stuff like that. And then when I got out of the Air Force, I moved to New Jersey and was working in the gyms, and then stumbled onto GNC franchising. And that's how it started. And moved back to St. Louis, opened my very first GNC store in 2000. And I grew that brand up. I grew my stores up to 5 stores, 4 in St. Louis, 1 in Arizona. And 2009, I just didn't like where the brand was going. I was like, you know what? It's time to sell. I don't see myself as a GNC franchisee in the next 10 years, so why not sell? My stores were at the height. And honestly, there's only 1 store that's still open out of all of them that I owned. And GNC always called me a troublemaker because I didn't follow their systems. I did follow their systems, so it's hard to say now when I'm trying to enforce systems. I just trained my way and had my brands and we did a really, really good job. Went to another nutrition concept and grew that up to 7 stores and didn't like where it was going. And I left that franchise in 2014. And then that's how NutritionHQ was born. So it was always, I was evolving. I'm like, I can't take care of the customers. I'm not able to take care of the customers the way they're coming in my door, and I'm being forced to sell them products they don't want. I'm like, it's about the customer. And that's our way is now is like, what we carry is for the customer, not for corporate. It's for the store. It's for that franchisee's success.
Well, that's very interesting. So, I mean, throughout, what I'm hearing is throughout your career in the nutrition space and having dealt with a couple different franchise brands, you always had a vision of what you felt it needed to be, and thus that's what brings us to NutritionHQ.
That is it. Yep.
So let me ask you this. I mean, I'm going to get this one out of the way, this question, and this is going to be an objection that I would hear many times from clients when I present a retail type solution. And I'll be totally upfront. I really have not presented a lot of retail type solutions purely given this thing called Amazon that is out there. So how do you overcome that guerrilla objection of that this can be, Amazon could be a competitor or easily replace a concept like this?
Yeah, and that's a great question, and we get that a lot. I get that a lot. And Stacie, when somebody comes and visits my store, I'm like, please go to like a GNC and go to a vitamin shop. I want you to see the experience. So at our stores, we're just not selling products. We are also coaching and consulting. I mean, it's a whole different level. And a lot of our brands that are in our stores are exclusive to us. You can only get them in our stores, and you can't get them on Amazon. And then we educate them about that. Why are you buying this and that? There's still going to be people that shop at Amazon. There's still going to be people that shop at Walmart. I'll never be able to stop that or try to compete with it. All I can do is we can provide a service and a product that brings people in. We call it a door swing. How many times a day can we make our door swing? Give you an example. My busy store yesterday had 115 door swings. So like people are coming in because of the experience, the knowledge we have, the selection we have. the equipment that we use. Like we have an InBody machine that you can scan, and it lets us know everything that's going on inside your body fat, your muscle mass, how much your right arm weighs, your left arm. Then we can take that and say, okay, Stacie, here's where you're going and here's what we're going to do. And then boom, we give you that consultation, and you come back and like, oh, nothing's changed in the 6 weeks I've been doing this. Hop on the InBody machine, I'm like, oh no, you've put on 4 pounds of muscle and lost 4 pounds of body fat. So like, that's the whole different, dynamic of it. Plus we are in the community. Like it's crazy how involved we are with the community, like doing Special Olympics foundations. We were at a golf tournament yesterday. We sponsor like the Miss Quincy beauty pageant. So that we are so community based that like people want to be a part of what we're doing.
Oh, so this is very much, I appreciate your response to that, and thank you. I just wanted, I wanted to get that out of the way because that is one of the objections that I will get from candidates. So I thought it was pertinent. With that said, this is very much like a game changer to people's lives from a nutrition standpoint and how you can make individuals feel better, both from an energy standpoint, maybe weight loss standpoint, you name it. So personally, I may or may not be of menopausal age. So let's use that for an example, because this is something where, if I am Googling how to get more energy during perimenopause or menopause, all these different solutions will come up online, but how do I know what's right for me? So in that situation, I understand you have the InBody Scan, but how do you, if I were to come into NutritionHQ, how can you help me with something of that nature in guiding me?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great question because I love when I walk in one of my stores and I have one of my younger fit guys helping a lady that's going through menopause. And it all starts with questionings. What are you feeling? What's your energy levels? What's your day like and stuff like that? And then they'll go, okay, you need to add 7 keto to your regimen and some progesterone cream. So like just the experience and the knowledge base, like my consultants are obsessed with educating themselves, and some of them have certifications in nutrition and things like that, but it's just the relentless learning and the training we do and asking these questions and role practicing and hearing that. But like I was in the store one day and a lady opened the door and stuck her head in. She goes, do you have progesterone cream? I was like, do you have hot flashes? And she was like, oh, and she literally walked in, found out she was a customer of mine when I owned my GNCs. So that's exactly how we do it. You come in and we literally just start asking you questions. We don't just, like, oh, here's this, here's that. Like we find out what's really going on.
I love it. And again, that is a service that you cannot get over Amazon. So love that. Okay, so let's break it down. You've mentioned employees, you've mentioned consults, with different clients. So what does your employee landscape look like, and what type of expertise is needed in different roles within NutritionHQ?
A lot of it is the passion to want to be like, one of my favorite calls I had with a candidate, and she'll probably do a store one day. I was like, why do you want to open a NutritionHQ? She goes, I just love helping people. So like our consultants are obsessed with seeing their progress and things like that. So like they're very passionate about health and wellness. They're very passionate about fitness. They're a lot of them are coaches, a lot of them are competitive. So they have that background in them. Some of my guys and girls do fitness competitions. So they eat, sleep, and drink it. Like people are always like, man, your franchisees and your staff look amazing. I'm like, they live the part. I mean, they live the part. You don't want to go to a dentist that doesn't have any teeth. Like they live the part, and that's exactly what we are. We live it. We eat it, sleep it, drink it.
I love that. What a great analogy. That's good, Ricky. Okay, so how many employees then? What are your hours? And then in a typical day, how many employees full-time versus part-time?
Yeah, typical hours are 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Like Monday through Friday. Saturday, Sunday, the hours vary a little bit. Most of the stores are open 12 to 6 on a Sunday. A lot of people, that's the only day they can shop. So we try to make it, we make it easier for them to shop with us. Uh, Most of the time, there's two consultants on the floor. When you first start the franchise, you can run it with just one consultant on the floor, and split out shifts. But as it builds up, like we'll show you where your payroll percentage needs to be, and we'll walk you through. Like, now it's time you need to start looking for another person. So, like my son's store, he's got himself, and he's a very active owner, and I think he's got two full-time people and two part-time people.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, my other franchisee, Jeremy, he's active, and he's got one full-time and one part-time.
All right. So, from the get-go, minimal employee count needed. And then as you grow and scale your business, you can add as demand warrants. So in your background, we see a beautiful background. It looks like a very clean, sleek type of storefront. Where do you typically look for real estate for this brand, and what is the ideal square footage?
Yeah, ideal square footage is 1,200 to 1,500 square feet. The sales floor will be around 1,000 square feet. And then we want to be in a strip center that's easy in, easy out, plenty of parking. I love if there's a grocery store as an anchor, because think how many times people go to the grocery store versus, say, the mall or anything like that. And then I also love if there's a UPS store in our strip center, because not only do my franchisees get their brick and mortar, they get their own dedicated e-com website that mimics their inventory in their store.
That is fantastic. So tell me a little bit more about that and the relationship then with a UPS store.
Well, it's just handy because we ship out so many packages, and people, like, not only are we doing, sales with people walking through the door, we're doing sales off their e-com platform. People are calling in and getting phone orders like, hey, I'm out of town. I'm in Wichita, Kansas on business. Can you ship me out to a tub of protein and my multivitamin? So they're doing a lot of shipping. Most stores are shipping a couple packages a day. So just having that UPS store, it's not necessary, but just having it there, easy place for you to drop packages off.
Sure. So what is the typical split then between in-store sales versus the e-commerce site that you've seen across your franchises to date?
Yeah, your e-com sales are probably going to be less than 10%. I
Okay.
mean, and when it is an e-com sale, it's somebody that has made a visit to the store, and they know, they live 35 miles away, and it's easier for them just to jump on e-com and order it that way. So that's how it works. And another reason we did that was, what if there's another COVID and we can't open our doors? Now my franchisees can email their database. Hey, we're open, shop online, and we can do delivery then and curbside pickup and stuff like that. So that gives them that flexibility to move, to generate revenue in multiple ways if something ever happened again.
Gotcha. So that takes us into, we've mentioned in-store sales, we've mentioned community-based events, the e-commerce site. What other revenue streams does a Nutrition HQ franchisee have?
Another one they can do is nutrition coaching. There's people, you can go online and get a nutrition coach. I mean, we can do nutrition coaching in the store. So there's another line of revenue that they can bring in, where they're buying a 2 or 3 month packet of nutrition coaching. And then that just adds on to, now they're getting the nutrition coaching. Now they're doing the InBody Scan. Now they're buying their supplements there. Like when I came up with the name Nutrition HQ, Stacie, I wanted something to say, we do everything nutrition. Like we cover it all. Like between the 3 stores that are open now, we probably sell 1,000 meals a week out of our stores.
Wow.
Like we do everything nutrition.
So, okay, let's expand upon that a little bit. So when you say 1,000 meals a week out of your stores, what does that look like? And what type are these ready-made meals? And have you partnered with different brands?
We've partnered with a couple brands, and the best way to say it is most of my stores order their meals on a Friday, and then our vendor makes them over the weekend, flash freezes them, and then ships them to the store. So like every Wednesday, my stores are getting new meals in, and they're flash frozen, and they last up to 6 months. So like it's they're very popular. We did an event in Quincy this summer, and she was an old radio rep of mine, and she came up, she goes, when I had my foot surgery, she goes, I couldn't get out of the house. I couldn't do anything. And she goes, I called the store and told them what I needed, and they got all my meals for me and then started delivering the meals to me until I could recover. So like, that's kind of the service that we do.
So are your customers able to place orders, or, based upon their specifications, do you say, here are the meal opportunities for next week, and can they place specific orders?
We have a menu they can go off of, and
Okay.
like somebody could come in and say, hey, I want this, like, this is what I'm going to pick up next week. And then we just adjust our normal order to add in what they want. So yes, they have that flexibility to do that based on what that vendor's offering on their menu for that month or that quarter.
So on your website or in some of your advertising, I noticed that Clean Eats is one of those vendors, which I actually have. I visited Clean Eats here in West Palm Beach. So for those listening, Clean Eats is another franchise opportunity in the food and beverage space, and they make a lot of ready-made meals. So you can walk in, they have coolers full, separated by dietary needs, low carb, high protein, what have you. And then they also will make fresh stuff there for you. So I was really impressed when I saw that Clean Eats was one of those partners that you partner with.
It is. Yep, that's exactly who it is. Clean Eats is our number one vendor for meals right now.
I love it from several aspects. One, the food is fantastic. So having that in your store, as an additional offering is fantastic. Number two, I see two franchise brands collaborating, which is absolutely fantastic. That right. type of partnership. All right. And in addition to that, you have branded merchandise, you have ambassadors, and athletes that are out repping the brand. And that also is part of that community aspect in spreading the word and, gaining that community awareness of all the services that you offer.
Yes. And what's funny is we don't pay any of our athletes ambassadors. We don't pay them. We do product trade and stuff like that, but we don't have a paid ambassador program. These are people that came in, they're passionate about Nutrition HQ. They want to be a part of the culture. And and then we have a vetting process of how we get to that. But no, that's exactly it. I'll tell you a great story. We had a girl who became she is an amazing ambassador for us. And finally I was like, Lindsay, what? I mean, why? What is it? And she was, Ricky, I went to the doctor to get an eye exam. And she goes, I was extremely overweight. And they told me, you're probably diabetic. You need to go see a doctor. She goes, I went home and cried all night. And she goes, the next day I walked into Nutrition HQ, and Stacie, she now does fitness competitions.
Wow.
And she's got a genuine story, and she sends us so many people like, this is where I started my journey. It's awesome.
Well, and on that note, really, in all transparency, how I came to know about you was another a trusted source within the franchise community, Jamie LaVine, who does franchise development. She's lives and breathes franchising and has found herself primarily in more pet franchise opportunities, but she gave a personal testament, reached out to me and said, you need to get to know this brand. I know that you worked with her on a consultation basis, and over the course of several months, I mean, she started, having more energy, feeling better, looking better, had lost weight that she hadn't been able to lose for a couple of years. And so, I mean, of course, again, another inspirational testimonial. And that's really, that is worth its weight in gold when you're building a business like this.
Yeah, and that was at a conference, and she was just telling me her story. I was like, "Oh, you need this, this, and this," and it was like it was just a genuine, conversation. It wasn't like I was trying to sell her anything right then. Well, here's what you need. I'll help you. And I even told her, I was like, she was okay, and I was like, "Here, jump on Amazon. I'll show you exactly what brand to order and what to do." And now I've created a monster. She's on all of our protein. She's on our TV16. What's that other vitamin you told me to get on? So like I've created a monster there. But yes, she's done an amazing job.
Yeah, you've created a very positive monster. Well,
Yeah, and it's pretty sad, Stacie. We're saying Jamie LaVine needed more energy. What?
no, I know. For those listening to this that know Jamie, they'll completely appreciate that. She is one of the most energetic people you'll ever meet. All right, so let's, your InBody Scan. This is a tool that I love. My doctor has one, and it is, I know that you offer your clients a complimentary scan one time per month, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I did this at my doctor for my annual physical year over year. And it just, I tell you, the information that you're able to glean just from a weight perspective, not your pounds and muscle versus fat. I mean, that's pretty compelling. So what is it? Well, let me ask you this. How many customers do you have that actually take advantage of that scan?
Oh, a lot. And a lot of people think that they'll be like, there is no way I'm getting on this machine. And it takes a little bit of coaching. And then once they finally do it, they're like, that's why we had to limit it to one scan a month, because people are like coming in like, hey, I want to scan again today. And we're like, you just scanned yesterday, So it is, I don't know if I could put a number on how many, but my goodness, we do a lot of scans. And actually, our Quincy store did the event where they helped out the YMCA and the county on a weight loss challenge. And Tyler, when they were doing so many scans, that Tyler had to hire a full-time person to do scans.
Oh my goodness, that is fantastic. So let's just touch on the product again. You had mentioned earlier in our discussion that many of the products that you carry are on an exclusive basis. So can you share more about, the guidance by corporate on products that are carried versus discretion of your franchisees?
Yeah. So when they open their store, I'm going to give them a menu. This is a basic menu to get your store started. And then you're going to change, because what's selling in Mishawaka, Indiana is not necessarily going to sell in Denver, North Carolina. So that's where I give them that flexibility. I am not involved in their ordering process. I do the relationship building between the vendor, and then the franchisee and the vendor work hand in hand. And that's so I stay out of the way. That way they can make that, we have our approved vendor list. So if they're an approved vendor, this is what you can order from them. And that's how we do it. Like I said, I learned that during my GNC days, like across the country, there's a different mix of products, and that franchisee has to have that discretion to adjust their inventory for their market.
That's great. So let's talk about your ideal franchise owner. What does that individual look like?
Yeah, they're usually fitness enthusiasts, are very passionate about health, wellness, and nutrition. I've talked to people that have left the military. They have a competitive nature. They like systems. They're driven. They just, it's one. We did a thing one time where one of our core values is driven with a no fail attitude, and then one of our other core values was gets it. Like, what do you mean by gets it? It's like, they just get the industry, they get the business model. My very first employee I ever hired, Stacie, I hired him because he would come in and read labels for hours. And finally I'm like, you want a job? He goes, I'd love a job. And so a lot of the franchisees, I'm talking to 4 people right now that have been customers of ours. So that's a lot of that too. And that's pretty much it. But that driven fitness enthusiast, somebody that's had an experience in their life, like Lindsay, she would be a good franchisee because she has had that journey. She understands that journey and she knows there's a need for that out there.
And are you looking for owner operators primarily? I know you mentioned that, your current franchisees are very involved in the business, or do you allow for the right individuals a semi-passive approach?
Where I am with growing the brand right now, I need owner operators.
Okay.
It's just and they want to be involved in the community and stuff like that. When my son bought my corporate store, and I was like, "What are you going to do different that you're not doing now?" And he goes, "I'm going to do what you did in the very first town you opened up." He goes, "I'm going to own this whole town." And I mean, he does. He's everywhere. I mean, he's up for an under 40 award now because he's so involved in the community and giving back. So that's the main thing. That owner operator is what's going to take the brand to the next level. And I had a conversation with the guy the other day. He goes, "Can I buy a multi-pack?" I said, "No, I can't. I'm not selling a multi-pack yet." I said, "You got to prove that you can run one store before I'd let you open up another one." And I said, "You prove to me." And I said, "I'll sell you as many as you want or award you as many as you want."
I love that. I mean, I see so many brands, emerging brands like yourself, that award 3, 4, 5, 10 locations, and there that does give me pause. So I love that you're growing responsibly, is how I look at it. Well, Ricky, so for those listening, the total investment for a single location is $172,500 to $290,500. And really, I mean, the big swinger in that, the disparity of that total investment is going to be your retail location.
That's exactly it. We have if we have to go if we go into a place where we have to use union labor, that number goes up. And we've built that in to understand that. And in that total investment, Stacie, that's your initial franchise fee. And for veterans and first responders, I give a 20% discount. So there's the initial franchise fee, there's your initial opening inventory of 40 grand, and 3 months working capital. So all that is baked into that number.
That is fantastic. And on a last note, I think what is really compelling also, and I like this, and it's not something that I typically see, is you have a sliding scale royalty. So at the top end, it's 6%. And then based on achieving different gross sales metrics, it can go down to 4%. But every year it resets to keep your franchisees hungry and growing.
Exactly.
And I love that. It's genius. I mean,
Thank you.
you're incentivizing franchisees in multiple ways, and it's a win-win situation both for you as the franchisor and for your investors.
And one of the reasons I did that, and it was one of my best friends as a franchise attorney. I was like, "How do we profit share with the franchisees?" He goes, "I don't know." And that's what started me thinking like that. And I'm like, I was so tired of me hustling all the time and kicking ass and paying the same royalties for the guy down the road that's feeding off of me and all my hard work in the community. So I'm like, I'm gonna figure out a way to reward. And I came up that, my attorney and I came up with it. And I've honestly got a couple pushbacks on it. And it
Really?
really, yeah, I had a consultant really push back on me. Yeah.
Wow. Well, this one will not. I think the royalty, I think it's genius. I do. And I think it's very admirable, the 20% discount to first responders and veterans. I mean, certainly you being a veteran yourself, and that they can make excellent franchise owners because they are used to following a system, which is key in franchise ownership.
Yeah, and they're driven by a purpose, like a mission. They're driven by a mission because that's what's been, that's what they've been living by. It was like, this is the mission today, so that I think all that fits in there. And like you said, I could relate to it. Stacie, when I left the military, it was like, okay, here's your checklist. Go by and check everything off, and then good luck. Like, I didn't know all, and I mean, there's so many business resources out there now for people transitioning. Is it 400,000 people transition out of the military a year, something like that? It's a crazy number. So
And I have a sister right now that is transitioning out at a Colonel ranking. She'll, within the next, I think May of 2024 is when she officially retires. And she's going through a very systematic process of, week by week, understanding and meeting with different people to see what opportunities are out there. So, well, Ricky, with that said, thank you so much for joining me today. I loved learning more about Nutrition HQ and am excited for the right candidate to be able to introduce this brand to them.
I appreciate that. And I want to throw another thing out there. We spent a lot of time talking about the InBody. I'm so passionate about the InBody and what it does to bring customers in the store that anybody that is awarded a franchise this year, I pay for the InBody for them. I give them an InBody to go with their store.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a nice gift. Well, for anybody that is interested in learning more about Nutrition HQ, please feel free to reach out to me at Stacie@fusionfranchising.com. Thanks and have a great day.